are driving our own growth, but we are ready to share these resources with the rest of the world, and by doing so, we will assist the rest of the world in ensuring that we move towards the net zero target that we all set for ourselves. And for Africa, renewable resources, it is not just the volume, but also the non-seasonality of our renewable energy that stands out. The nearly year-round sunshine makes Africa's solar potential particularly unique, perfectly suited to industrial energy demands, something that is challenging in other areas, especially in temperate climates. Kenya, for example, serves as a good example of what is possible. Our national grid currently operates at 3 gigawatts, with 93% of that power being renewable. Our ambition is audacious yet achievable: 100% renewable by 2030 and a 100 gigawatt grid entirely renewable by 2040. A serious challenge in bridging the investment gap in order to enable the continent meet its energy needs is the creation of demand on sufficient scale to provide incentives for appropriate private investment in energy infrastructure development. Industrial energy at scale is therefore necessary to anchor energy demand as a means of tackling the widespread energy poverty still prevalent across our continent. The numbers are stark. Nearly 600 million Africans lack access to electricity. Another 150 million grapple with unreliable power. And almost a billion have no access to clean cooking energy. But the abundance of our renewable resources, the possibilities offered by new technologies, and opportunities created by new climate financing offers enormous possibilities for us. We have the capability to provide reliable and cost-effective energy access to all Africans by 2030. The green transformation of both production and consumption is not optional. It is an imperative. The global demand for such solution is already gaining momentum. Our strategic proximity to substantial reserves of metal and minerals necessary for the global energy transition makes Africa an attractive candidate to become a global hub in green industrial supply chain, from refining metals and minerals to constructing and assembling electric motor vehicles, batteries, and other components. Let me invite you to this unprecedented geo-economic opportunity for Africa. We are already key players in the extraction of these minerals, but much of the higher value addition, smelting, refining, assembly, and even the production of electric motor vehicles happens elsewhere. Let's put some numbers to add perspective to what I'm saying. By 2025, the mining of battery critical minerals, nickel, lithium, cobalt, is estimated to generate some $11 billion in value. However, if we take the next step and engage in value-added activities like refining these minerals into industrial-grade metals, that value could quadruple to $50 billion. And if we consider the end-to-end value chain for electric vehicles, including the battery pack, and all other components, the market value skyrockets to an astonishing $7 trillion. That is a trajectory. What today we are selling for $11 billion could be $7 trillion if we engage in the right trajectory. And that is what we are saying. And that is what Madam Josefa was saying. What these figures clearly demonstrate is that Africa can no longer afford a minimalist, short-termist, raw material-based approach. The time has come for us to break out of the shackles of low ambition. We must now begin to aim higher and strive for more and better outcomes. As we work towards capturing more economic value from these opportunities, we are not just building a resilient and prosperous continent, we are also contributing to a more balanced and stable global economy. It is the only way, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to stop the migration using rickety boats from one continent to another. It is the way that we are going to stop the negativities. We need to balance our development, and we have the assets to do it, and we have the ambition to do it, and we want to do it together. Trillions of dollars globally are looking for green investment opportunities as the pressure to tackle climate change and crisis heightens. Africa holds the key to accelerating decarbonization of the global economy. It is a statement of fact. Africa holds the key to decarbonizing the global economy, whether it is industrialization, whether it's manufacturing. We are not just a continent rich in resources. We are a powerhouse of untapped potential, eager to engage and fairly compete in the global marketplace. Consider this. Every year, Africa needs to generate approximately 30 million jobs, new jobs for that matter, to accommodate its rapidly expanding workforce. These are not just numbers. They are not just statistics. These are 30 million opportunities to build our future, 30 million dreams that can be fulfilled through climate-proof avenues of growth, and 30 million steps towards shared prosperity. The examples I have shared with you are not mere statistics. They are pragmatic routes for Africa to not only participate in the global economy, but to excel and to grow. I accept that it is one thing to say what is possible, and entirely another to make it happen. For example, infrastructure is expensive. It needs finance and finely tuned policies to attract investors. It needs technical know-how and agile institutions. A major concern that we all know and we all appreciate is cost of capital in Africa, acting as a most prohibitive barrier to our progress. Private investors charge high premiums driven by both real but mostly perceived risks. It is not a secret that we are paying at least 5 times as much as advanced economies to borrow from the financial markets. It's a fact, documented. Like many of us, a few years ago, I would have believed the challenges were too great and the barriers too high. Today, I see them differently, as mere tests of our collective will and ingenuity. We should develop effective policies and regulations that catalyze investment and entrepreneurship and unleash the creativity of local business. We must transform Africa's resource wealth from mere potential into real opportunities by directing large-scale investments that will actualize the possibilities that exist and await our citizens in present and in future generations. Let's make no mistake, however, we have no choice but to approach this colossal task with clear minds and open eyes. A lot needs to happen before Africa can live up to its full potential of providing climate solutions for its citizens and to the entire world. Over the next few days, I have no doubt that African leaders seated here and our friends from elsewhere will be open, honest, and direct about what we can commit and bring to the table and the type of the collaborations we need from our global partners. My call to everyone present in this historic summit is for us to work together and converge our efforts on African priorities. I urge everyone to make a contribution to our generation's unprecedented and highly consequential endeavor to catalyze climate action in a spirit of candor, collaboration, and courage. Let us imagine a pathway for different financial structures that can deliver on Africa's goals. Let us commit to invest in viable solutions presented by renewable energy, green industrialization, climate-smart agriculture, and nature conservation. I am confident that we are all inspired by the possibilities before us and galvanized by the demands of this critical time to engage productively, collaborate successfully, and conclude the Africa Summit with a Nairobi Declaration on green growth and climate finance agenda that will commit us to pursue a climate-positive path to propel Africa's economy and promote job creation in a manner that limits our emissions and aids global decarbonization efforts. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends, this summit is a moment to imagine a bold and radically affirmative African future. We are here to envision a continent that links markets and connects resources with demand, unlocking massive economies of scale, a continent that offers an economic backbone for a decarbonized world, a continent that thrives and shapes climate-proof future for all. So, as we immerse ourselves into the array of complex issues during the summit, let us fix our gaze firmly upon the horizon of possibilities. The future is not just something to hope for, neither is it something to merely wish or wait for. The future is for us to conceptualize and actualize, starting now. That is what we have come to do at the Africa Climate Summit. Welcome to the future, and I thank you.
One more round of applause to all the speakers who have spoken so well. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now we've come to the end of this session, so mine is just to give you some exit protocols. Very simply, we're going to have what we call a family photo with His Excellency, the President. And so we are inviting the AU leadership and all the ministers, including our cabinet secretaries, to join His Excellency for this photo. So what we'll do is that at the point we're exiting, kindly Let's allow His Excellency and the leadership to exit first, followed by the ministers. I'll request that we all remain in the room. Then after that, we will be free to take a short break. But for now, we'll all be upstanding kindly as we allow His Excellency, the President, the AU leadership, and the ministers to proceed to the photo shoot. The photo will be taken at the main entrance to KICC. We do have some protocol officers who are going to guide us on that. So we proceed to the main entrance of KICC, where we have an arrangement for all the ministers together with His Excellency, the President, to take the family photo. Otherwise, have yourself. We may take our seats.
Hermano, kora dua pako Kenya, adua pako pinywa kenda dua pako Joa. Kenya is Marwa. Giri giri. Hero musna boma musawa. Hongera Kenya musna boma. Kenya my people, Kenya my homeland. Hero musna boma musawa. Hongera Kenya musna boma. We have the best country.
Kenya and for this first ever Africa Climate Summit. Thank you so much. Please take your seats. You are in a country, ladies and gentlemen, of incredible sights, mesmerizing wildlife, and warm, warm people. And even as we meet on this critical agenda, we hope you get some time to enjoy Kenya.
And as you enjoy our spectacular country and observe the creativity, the passion, and the immense talent of young Kenyans, we also acknowledge that we are here gathering at a time of great uncertainty. Soaring inflation, deepening polarization, widening inequalities, and the rapid advance of technology pose major challenges worldwide. In addition, there is a war raging in the heart of Europe, whose impact is felt globally. Above all looms climate change, which poses a threat to the very survival of humanity. And in Africa, the threat has been catastrophic.
It has. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share with you the statistics, which are dire. Over 17 million people a year have been affected by storms, droughts, wildfires, floods, and landslides. More than 7 million people in Africa have been displaced by natural disasters. More than 145 million people do not have enough food to eat. Now, all this, while Africa is responsible for less than 4% of CO2 emissions from fossil fuels and industry.
As UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said recently, and I quote, "The era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived." It's so pertinent that this summit is being convened here in Africa to address the issues facing humanity. It was from here, particularly from the Rift Valley, that Homo sapiens set off eons ago, and several millennia later have come to dominate the planet. The progress and advances made in that period are impressive, but they have come at a price. Our ailing planet and the
Kenyanism. It goes, "Hiyo meeting ingekuwa email." How many Kenyans know that? See some hands. Now, I share that because we've come together, we've convened, we are meeting, we are deliberating, we've taken the time. We must ensure this translates into action for impact. Otherwise, we could just have sent an email.
And the action we are seeking here at the Africa Climate Summit is a pathway that will forward. Twende kazi.
Absolutely, let's do it. And say, just before we introduce the minister and ask her to come up, I want to settle the room and I want to rally us. Ladies and gentlemen, as you're taking your seats, can we please make a commitment that we will act following this summit, that we will collaborate, that action is critical and impact is critical? Could we give a round of applause to show our intent, our commitment, a promise to ourselves and the next generations? Thank you so much. Zain, would you introduce the minister?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Julie, and thank you everybody here for being here and for your commitment for what we're trying to do here. It is so important for Africa today and for all future generations. So to begin, it is my privilege to introduce our Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, the Honorable Soipan Tuya.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Chairperson of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Dr. Simon Still, the Executive Director, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Her Excellency, Dr. Monique Nzanzabanganawa, Deputy Chairperson of the AU, Her Excellency, Ambassador Joseph Asako, AU Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment, His Excellency, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Haile Mariam Desalegn, the Right Honorable Baroness Patricia Scotland, Secretary General of the Commonwealth, colleague ministers from Africa and across the globe, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am very honored to welcome you to Nairobi, our beautiful green city in the sun. Today, I stand before you filled with pride and hope. As we begin discussions at the Africa Climate Summit, we look forward to your support towards an ambitious agenda to change the perception on the place of Africa in the global efforts to combat the climate change crisis. The journey that got us here today has been long in the making, thanks to the very visionary leadership of our heads of state and government, who took no less than 3 assembly decisions at the 32nd, 33rd, and 34th African Union Assembly sittings to make this African Climate Summit a reality. In a bold and courageous move, His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, President of Kenya, at the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh in November 2022, did announce and offered to host the inaugural Africa Climate Summit here in Nairobi in his capacity as the chair of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change. Excellencies, honorable colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, that moment is finally here with us. And I wish to express my profound gratitude to the African Union Commission as co-hosts of this summit, and especially to my sister Ambassador Joseph Asako, who together with her talented and dedicated team made sure